Ezekiel chapters 34 and 35. Title, The Lord Will Be Israel's Shepherd. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, This is what the sovereign Lord says. Woe to you, shepherds of Israel, who only take care of yourselves. Should not shepherds take care of the flock? You eat the curds, clothe yourselves in the wool, and slaughter the most choice animals, but you do not take care of the flock. You have not strengthened the weak, or healed the sick, or bound up the injured. You have not brought back the strays, or searched for the lost. You have ruled them harshly and brutally. So they were scattered because there was no shepherd. And when they were scattered, they became food for all the wild animals. My sheep wandered over all the mountains and on every high hill, and they were scattered over the whole earth, and no one searched or looked for them. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, because my flock lacks a shepherd, and so have been plundered and have become food for all the wild animals, and because my shepherds did not search for my flock, but cared for themselves rather than for my flock. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says, I am against the shepherds and will hold them accountable for my flock. I will remove them from tending the flock so the shepherds can no longer feed themselves. I will rescue my flock from their mouths, and it will no longer be food for them. For this is what the sovereign Lord says, I myself will search for my sheep and look for them, as a shepherd looks after his scattered flock when he is with them. So I will look after my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places where they were scattered on a day of clouds and darkness. I will bring them from the nations and gather them from the countries, and I will bring them into their own land. I will pasture them on the mountains of Israel and in the ravines and in the settlements of the land. I will tend them in a good pasture, and the mountain heights of Israel will be their grazing land. There they will lie down in good grazing land, and there they will feed in rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. I myself will tend my sheep and have them lie down, declares the Lord, sovereign God. And I will search for the lost and bring back the strays. And I will bind up the injured and strengthen the weak, but the sleek and strong I will destroy. I will shepherd the flocks with justice. As for you, my flock, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will judge between one sheep and another, and between rams and goats. Is it not enough for you to feed on the good pasture? Must you also trample the rest of your pasture with your feet? Is it not enough for you to drink cleaner water? Must you also muddy the rest with your feet? Must my flock feed on what you have trampled and drink what you have muddied with your feet? Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says to them. See, I myself will judge between the fat sheep and the lean sheep. Because you shove with flank and shoulder, butting all the weak sheep with your horns until you have driven them away. I will save my flock, and they will no longer be plundered, and I will judge between one sheep and another. And I will place over them one shepherd, my servant David, and he will tend them, and be their shepherd. I, the Lord, will be their God, and my servant David will be the prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken. And I will make a covenant of peace with them and rid the land of savage beasts, so that they may live in the wilderness and sleep in the forest in safety. I will make them and the places surrounding my hill a blessing. I will send down showers in season. There will be showers of blessing. The trees will yield their fruit, and the ground will yield its crops, and the people will be secure in their land. And they will know that I am the Lord, when I break the bars of their yoke and rescue them from the hands of those who enslave them. They will no longer be plundered by the nations, nor will wild animals devour them. They will live in safety, and no one will make them afraid. I will provide for them a land renowned for its crops, and they will no longer be victims of famine in the land or bear scorn of the nations. Then they will know that I, the Lord their God, am with them, and that they, the Israelites, are my people, declares the sovereign Lord. You are my sheep, the sheep of my pasture. I am your God, declares the sovereign Lord. Chapter 35, Prophecy against Edom. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir, prophesy against it, and say, This is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Mount Seir, and I will stretch out my hand against you and make you a desolate waste. I will turn your towns into ruins, and you will be desolate, and then you will know that I am the Lord. Because you harbor an ancient hostility and delivered the Israelites over to the sword at the time of their calamity, the time their punishment reached its climax. Therefore, surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, I will give you over to bloodshed, and I will pursue you. Since you do not hate bloodshed, bloodshed will pursue you. I will make Mount Seir a desolate waste and cut off from it all who come and go. I will fill your mountains with the slain. Those killed by the sword will fall on your hills and into your valleys and into your ravines. I will make you desolate forever. Your towns will not be inhabited. Then you will know that I am the Lord, because you have said, These two nations and countries will be ours, and we will take possession of them, even though I, the Lord, was there. Therefore, as surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, I will treat you in accordance with the anger and jealousy you showed in your hatred for them, and I will make myself known among you when I judge you. Then you will know that I, the Lord, have heard all the contemptible things that you have said against the mountains of Israel. You said, They have been laid waste and have been given over to us to devour. You boasted against me and spoke against me without restraint, and I heard it. This is what the sovereign Lord says. While the whole earth rejoices, I will make you desolate, because you rejoiced when the inheritance of Israel became desolate. And this is how I will treat you. You will be a desolate Mount Seir, you and all of Edom. Then they will know that I am the Lord. How did the Lord intend to be Israel's shepherd? Since Israel's leaders had failed to care for the people, God declared that he would again lead them himself. Israel had earlier been ruled by God's direct decree, not by kings. Following their return from Babylonian captivity, the Israelites again would have no king, but only leaders raised by God. This prophetic word found ultimate fulfillment in the coming of the Messiah, the Good Shepherd. How could David, long dead, lead Israel again? The people of Ezekiel's day had no trouble recognizing that this was not a promise that King David himself would return from the dead. It was clear to them that it was a promise of the coming Messiah, a descendant of David. To them, a person's name was a given expression of character, perhaps more so than identity. David's name in this prophecy indicated not only his descendants, but also someone who would be like David, a man after God's own heart. What caused their grudge against Israel when we're talking about Edom? It started when Jacob tricked his brother Esau out of his birthright, and then cheated him out of his blessing as the firstborn. Since that time, the descendants have been at odds. This ancient hostility kept the Edomites from coming to Israel's aid during the Babylonian invasion.